Hi, everybody. Al Bernstein here with another edition of our Big Time Boxing Show. And this one, a very special one for me because I get to interview a gentleman that I have known for over 40 years, a man who is going to be inducted into the International Boxing Hall of Fame here in June, and richly deserved, I might add. He was the middleweight and super middleweight champion. He won the middleweight championship in 1988 and held it through 1991. And then he won the super middleweight title, which he held from 1992 to 1994. He had an amazing boxing record of 54-4. Two of those losses, by the way, were by split decision. And he, during his career, one of the most proficient and smoothest boxers that I have ever seen announcing fights in my 45 years. He is my good friend, Michael Nunn. Michael, how are you?
I'm doing fine now. How you doing this afternoon?
I'm doing great, and I'll be in Canastota doing the Friday night fights that we're going to do on DAZN, the Salida Promotion Show, and so I will be able to be there to also celebrate with you and the other inductees the induction into the Hall of Fame. And I'm thrilled that I'm going to be there because I was with you at the beginning of your boxing journey back in the early 1980s, a time when everyone saw your potential and what you might do. So for you and I, it's kind of a full circle thing, and I'm thrilled that I'm going to be there to see a big moment for you.
Well, thanks a lot, Al, man. It's gonna be a very entertaining time for myself, and I'm just so glad to be inducted to the International Boxing Hall of Fame. It goes to show my hard work and dedication, and things. They finally took me to the mountain I need to climb, and I always want to be a part of that. Year after year, seeing all these great fighters go in, and now I'm getting a golden opportunity. It's gonna be kind of sad because my mother, she's not gonna be there. Dan Goosen's not gonna be there. Gray Goosen, Mr. Bob Sirkine, my brother Willie Nunn, my cousin Marshall Jackson, and a variety of other people. But they watching from heaven, so that's the most important thing.
Yeah, your journey to this point has been a long one, and in some cases, and we'll talk a little bit about it, an arduous one filled with some difficult times as well. But the good times and the achievements is what's going to be celebrated in just a couple of weeks. Your career was one in which you were a terrific amateur fighter and came within a whisper of making the Olympic team. And really, if not for you being helpful to the U.S. Amateur Committee, you probably would have made the Olympics because you switched weight classes to help them out in theory, and then you ended up just barely missing the team. Your amateur days, people sometimes forget because they talk about your great pro achievements, but you were a remarkable amateur boxer, and you competed at a time when there were amazing fighters like Virgil Hill, William Guthrie, all these great fighters. What did you take away from your amateur experience?
Well, first and foremost, I'm very thankful to be able to, have such a great amateur career and to fight so many great fighters and, to become who I became because they helped me become who I became. And just, it was, me being from Iowa was kind of weird, because, we never had a world champion and, I was the
Yeah.
first. And so, I want to be the trailblazer for the rest of the kids that are coming behind me to let them know, hey, because you're from Iowa don't mean you can't win a world championship because, I hear all kind of different stories, Al, hey, he can't punch, he can't do this. But I fought like I think they say 8 world champions. I knocked out 6. So it's amazing how people say things. But
Yeah.
the most important thing is stay to the grindstone and stay prayed up, work hard, and fight hard and just be the best you can be. And I think I've done that.
Yeah, some people don't let those pesky facts get in the way when they decide to say things.
Well,
Y-
well, you
yeah, go
can't do
ahead.
that. You got to remain callous when they're talking. You got to let them talk while they're talking. You just continue to work and to keep,
Yeah,
your craft. And at the end of the rainbow, hey, we made it. So I mean, hey, shut them doubters down.
that's for sure what you did. And you, when you turned pro, you hooked up with Ten Goose Boxing in California, You, of course, as you mentioned, you're from Davenport, Iowa, and you hooked up with Ten Goose Boxing, moved to LA, a completely different place and lifestyle and experience for you. And those early years, when you were getting adjusted to being in LA, how was that for you as a Midwestern kid coming from a smaller community, going out to LA to try and really involved in all these major fights, meeting celebrities left and right that the Goosens introduced you to? It had to be a dizzying experience.
Well, it was a big cultural difference. Growing up in the Midwest, been in the Midwest all your life, and then going to like one of the biggest cities in the country was kind of shocking. But the Gooses helped me navigate through a lot of stuff that I went through. So I want to give special thanks to the Goosen family and the people, their friends, and the fans and friends that I met throughout the years. But I did put me in a good structure, and that's why I was able to go do the things we done because without their assistance, wouldn't have been no Michael Nunn. So got to give credit where credit is due. And Dan Goosen seen me at the 1984 Olympic trials. And I was going. I said, I'm done boxing. I don't want to box no more. I wanted to make the Olympic team. I didn't make the Olympic team. He said, well, hey, you didn't make the Olympic team. He said, but I guarantee you, you do what you're supposed to do. You can be world champion in 3 years. So when he convinced me and my mom to, sign a promotional agreement with Ten Goose Boxing, we went on to do that, and we was able to go and do big things. And I'm just thankful that I met Dan, and we was able to unite and do the things that we done, as well as Joe Goosen as well, and the Ten Goose family, and all the fighters that were part of that organization.
That was an amazing time, and that was my introduction to you because you appeared many times on the ESPN series, the Top Rank Boxing ESPN series. We did many of the fights from Reseda, California, and the Country Club there, which was just a great atmosphere for boxing. It was small, intimate club, and those fights became a staple of the boxing scene in California. There'd be tables of celebrities sitting there watching, and that was how you honed your craft. And one of the interesting things about that period was you had, in your first 15 or 16 pro fights, of course you were undefeated. I remember us looking at the scorecards of all the decisions you'd had. You barely lost a round on anyone's scorecard, right? It wasn't even just that you were shutting people out. There was barely a judge that scored against you. At that point, did you feel kind of impregnable? Like there was nothing that could be done to even get to you?
I was just young, and I had guys like Dan and Joe and my family just pushed me to be the best, man. And I didn't want to lose, and I just want to be the best I could be. And I mean, I had to had to prove a lot of guys and people.
Yeah.
You know, you know, you may say, well, hey, let them talk, but it bothers you to a degree. But when you win, you take all that out of the equation. So I mean, hey, I was just so happy. I just wanted I had the opportunity to show the world that I was one of the best fighters and was going to be world champion one day. And just I just wanted to go out and just show who I really was, and I got the opportunity to do that.
And you won the title from Thomas Tate at Caesar's
Frank,
Palace.
Frank, Frank,
Or Frank Tate, I'm sorry, wrong Tate. I had a Tate, but the wrong one, right? Against Frank Tate, and you won the title from him, and it was a terrific performance, kind of announcing yourself, to the world, and I remember the scene leading up to that fight. It was a very significant middleweight fight because Tate was a former amateur champion as well, and he was backed by the Houston Boxing Club, which had a lot of great fighters at that time. And his fight with you was really a major fight. What was the feeling for you going into that fight, and how validated did you feel coming out of it that you were at the very top of the middleweight division?
Once we beat Frank Tate, July 28th at Caesar's Palace in Las Vegas, we validated ourselves as one of the best middleweights in the world. We became middleweight champion. Me and Frank Tate, we had such a great history together. We fought 3 times as an amateur.
Yeah.
He won twice and I won once, so I had to like even the score. But Frank had represented the United States at 156 at the 1984 Olympics, and I was a 156 pounder, but somehow like I say, the Olympic Committee wanted me to move up to 165 to have a stronger tendency at 165. So I moved up to 165, and Frank Tate won the Olympic gold medal. So and then he went on to win the World Middleweight Championship. So I got an opportunity to kind of like try to straighten things out. You won the Olympic
Yeah.
gold medal. Was World Middleweight Championship. Dear friend of mine, love you, Frank. And always been a
Yeah.
great guy. All the guys from the Chronic Gymnasium, the Emmanuel Stewarts, the Tommy Hearns, the Milt McCroys, the Stephen McCroys. They were always great, and they gave me, uh, a great feeling to be able to go out there and beat, such a great fighter. And Frank's my man, and I had to become middleweight champion. He took the Olympic gold medal home, so I had to bring that IBF World Middleweight Championship home. So it was just great. And then it gave us an opportunity to show the world who we was because Dan and people that was backing me was telling them I was going to be world champion, and we finally was able to reach that goal July 28th, 1988 at Caesar's Palace on the Strip. What greater place to be able to do it at in front of the world? So I mean, that was a crown achievement moment. So it was great.
One of your during the course of your middleweight run, you fought amazing fighters. You defended against Iran Barkley, Marlon Starling, Donald Curry. But one of the fights, this was prior to, but one of the fights that people remember so much is your fight with Columbine, who was a terrific middleweight fighter, who
Had a great fighter.
arguably is someone that could be strongly considered for the International Boxing Hall of Fame.
No
Brilliant
doubt.
fighter. He fought great fighters. He was a great ring technician like you, and you
Tactical.
knocked him out in the very first round. And two things about that were pretty amazing, and I want to get your take on it. One, you weren't known as a knockout puncher. As far as, you did get stoppages, as you pointed out, but it wasn't your stock in trade. You were a terrific boxer puncher. And you just starched him in round one. One, were you even a little surprised that that happened? And were you surprised at the reaction to it?
I was super excited, man. I mean, hey, when I knocked him out in 88 seconds of the first round, that was something I wasn't expecting. We
Yeah,
figured we would win the fight, whether it's 12-round decision or
right.
knockout. But we wasn't expecting no performance like that because you figure at the time it was the third fastest knockout in the history of the middleweight division, and it was so fast in 88 seconds. I mean, it's unbelievable. And I'm not going to make it sound like, oh, I knew I was going to go out there and do that because
Yeah,
it was
right.
just something that happened. The guy gave me the perfect punch at the perfect time, and he
Yeah,
happened to be another punch. But we were looking forward to just really out slicking this guy for 12 rounds because he's a great fighter. I'll take nothing from Colin Bay
yeah,
because I knocked him out in the first round. Don't make him not a bad fighter. He was a world middleweight champion. He was a WBA champion. I was an IBF champion. So I'm not going to take nothing from him. I'm gonna give kudos and credit to him because he's a great fighter. And I think at that time I was the first American middleweight to beat him. So I guess he figured he was
yeah.
coming over from Italy, and it was just another American fighter that he was going to defeat and go back to Italy. But fortunately, I beat him in royal fashion. But no, I anticipated a 12-round fight. But Joe Goosen knew I was going to knock him out. I don't know why. My mindset was just box, box, box. Joe knew I would knock him out. And we're not saying the first round, the second round, third round,
Yeah, yeah.
eighth, 10th round. He's a great trainer. He knew the way he trained me and the way he was going to have me fight. He knew it was going to be a knockout. He didn't want no 12-round decision win because, you got to listen to all the people talk. Hey, he don't punch. He don't do this. So, you go out there and you starch these guys. You take all the noise out of the equation. And, I just wanted to go out and just, put up a great performance against another champion. We was fighting for the unification of the middleweight titles. And, he come out his best, I come out my best. And, we have to, come home with the victory. And, I'm very thankful for that. But taking nothing from Colin Bay, super fighter, great
Yeah,
fighter, man.
amazing.
Look, no. And, I'm just fortunate I was able to get the punch in, I got in. But if not, I think I could have won a 12-round decision.
Yeah, you were very sharp at that time in your career, and as you point out, he'd beaten some great Americans in the middleweight division. You also won the super middleweight title, which you had for 2 years. almost retained the title, lost a very suspect split decision. You had a couple of chances to win the title back, two split decisions. Didn't quite get it back, but you distinguished yourself at 168 pounds as a champion. And that further probably solidified you being into the being put in the International Boxing Hall of Fame. After you accomplished all that, a darker period in your life. In 2000, you were arrested and ultimately convicted on drug charges, received what many people believe was an extraordinarily harsh sentence because you pleaded out to part of possession of the drugs. Um, but you received a 24-year sentence, which is the higher echelon of the sentencing. And many people believe that was completely inappropriate. And you ended up getting out of jail after 19 years. That period of your life, how hard was it when you were incarcerated, and as you moved on, how hard was it mentally and physically to keep your sense of self and feel optimistic that better days would eventually come?
But it's rough. But God gave me the strength to endure and having a good, strong family support. My mother, my brothers, my sisters, my kids, and my friends, my family, and the boxing fans. You know what I'm saying? I just knew that hey, whatever I done, I done. I got in trouble. I accept responsibility for what I done. I went to jail like a man. I come home like a man, and I'm gonna continue to be great. I'm not gonna let that deter me. I mean, yeah, you get knocked down in life, you got to look up. He said, if you look up, you get up, and you just keep moving forward, and you try to make better decisions, better choices, and stay away from things that can get you in trouble. Because if you get in trouble, you got to go to jail. And I understand that, but now that I've done that, that's 1,000 miles behind me, and it makes me feel good to be my age and still be able to make things happen, and be on here doing interviews with people like yourself. I mean, and then getting ready to get inducted to the International Boxing Hall of Fame. That is probably the biggest crowd achievement I can probably say I won. Winning world championships is great. Winning, contendership fights is great. But getting inducted with all the other legends that came before me and is going to come after is it's this crowd achievement for me. Being a little guy from Iowa, and what more can I say? Be the best
You,
I can.
yeah, when you were released from jail, the outpouring of support and love for you, I think, was pretty remarkable. I, I'm just one of many people that interacted with you a lot during your career, and we all talked all the time about you. All of us, we were constantly hopeful that you would get out at some point, uh, at an earlier stage. And I'm guessing that outpouring of love and support from fans and from the people in the boxing business had to make a big impact on you.
About it, it definitely did, man. I want to give special thanks to everybody that looked out and gave me the support that I really needed. Keep my mind right, keep my spirit on what it needs to be on, and doing the right things. You know what I'm saying? People like yourself, people from the other different organizations that helped out. I give special thanks to everybody. People from the WBC, people from the IBF, yourself, and family, friends, and other supporters. I want to give special thanks to everybody because it was a combination of people. Not just one particular person. It's just I can think of a million people. I just want to thank everybody that gave assistance to Michael Nunn, and I'm gonna be my best. And thanks for the love and thanks for the support. And it's my duty to continue to be the best I can be, and teach these kids that are coming behind me to be just as great, even greater. You know what I'm saying? And to be a leader, teaching guide for them to do the right things, because getting in trouble is the easiest thing in the world. But when you get in trouble, it's so hard to get out of it. And it's weird, Al. When you're young, growing up, you hear that your mom say that a million times, but you don't understand it until you finally get in trouble. Then you
Yeah.
realize, hey, when mom told me that, but I had to deal with it. I had to, put my big boy boots on and go do what I had to do. And thank God for getting me through my trials and tribulations to bring me back and put me back in such a great position. I'm so humbled and so proud, and I just want to thank everybody. Just gave a lending hand to Michael Nunn.
Well, your story is really pretty astonishing for all of us that knew you well in those early days and during your championship rise. I can honestly say very few people that I've dealt with in the sport of boxing were more enjoyable and easy to deal with and work with. And we, I'm one of those people that I don't by design, I get friendlier with boxers after they retire because when I'm covering them, I'm announcing them. So it's usually not like your pals all the time because you're covering them, even though I'm not the kind of guy that's super critical of boxers, certainly not on a personal basis. But it was a little different in a way with you because there was this camaraderie in those early days with the whole Goosen clan and with you and other people in Southern California. We'd be playing softball games and doing other things socially. And you and I had a kind of a relationship that was really different than I had with a lot of other fighters.
But it makes me feel good, Al. You was always a first class guy, and I know Dan and Joe and Goose and Clan, they always loved you, and it was just always great having you around, man. I mean, it's great. You know,
We had fun. We had fun playing basketball and softball and and all that fun stuff. So it was a rewarding experience. And so when I'm at Canastota with you and you're going to get inducted, like many other people, I'm not the only one. There's going to be a special feeling of joy to watch you get your props as a fighter. And all I can say is it couldn't happen to a better guy.
Well, thank you, Al, man. It makes me feel good to hear it come from a guy like yourself, man. Thank you. And like I say, we telling people how long we've been knowing each other. You got to figure out our age. I mean, 40 years is a
I
long time.
know. I
Like
think
yes,
maybe
like
I think we met when we were 10, right?
yeah, something like that. Yeah, 9 or
Maybe
10, 7,
something like that.
something like that.
Michael, congratulations on the induction into the International Boxing Hall of Fame. The world will get a chance to see you get inducted. And I know this is a new chapter in your life. And I would think getting this award also kind of propels you to want to to continue to do good things in life.
That about it just lets me know that I can continue to do good things. And this is going to just, open more doors for me. And I'm going to just keep on grinding now, man. Keep moving forward, keep my head up, hands up, chin down, and keep moving forward, doing the right things.
You got it. Congratulations to you, Michael. Thank you so much for visiting with us.
No,
That
thank
was
you, Al.
Michael. Thanks, Michael. That was Michael Nunn, a former middleweight and super middleweight champion who will be a part of the new class of inductees this year in the International Boxing Hall of Fame. A reminder that for all of you watching here on the Salida Promotions YouTube channel, our Big Time Boxing USA boxing card on DAZN will be Friday, June 6th. The traditional card that kicks off the International Boxing Hall of Fame weekend. And we've got a great card for you. And it should be a lot of fun. So join us on DAZN for those matches and join me next time here on Big Time Boxing. Take care, everybody. Hang on, Michael. We're going to get a goodbye to you. We're going to be able to click this up.